Ladies and gentlemen, black women are campaigning for Trump.
Remember when Trump said that black women in Chicago were begging him to send in federal troops?
And people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are calling out for us to come. They wear red hats like this man, but they wear red hats. African-American women, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Well, guess what?
That I found her. I don't think Donald Trump is trying to help black people in these neighborhoods. It was him. He showed us in his first. I hear liberals now saying that she's a traitor, crazy for supporting Trump. But that's exactly what this is about. Vangelo is getting answers, exploring the minds of people you may not know or understand.
Before the 2024 election, most black men switched to Trump. Women, black, Latina, and white, stayed with the party they thought was on their side, protecting their interests, doing something to make their lives easier and safer. A year has passed since the decision, so what now? Is it easier and safer under the Democrats? And it seems that yet another huge segment of America, women-less-inced, saw that Trump is trying to do what the Democrats have been promising for 30 years in a row, and then promise again, and then promise again.
She starred in the movie Chicago Turns Red. We need to find out where Black MAGA came from, why she supports Trump, and why she approves of Trump sending troops to her city, Chicago. But first, I need to find out if she's from Chicago. Do you live in Chicago? Do you still live in Chicago? Yes, I was born here, right in the neighborhood, so you can't. Born and raised. I grew up on 75th. It was intense. They used to call this place Terror Town, and they still do because it was really bad there. And here's the rest of the interview. Listen, and then tell me what you think. We were the ones who asked President Trump for help. Even before the elections, we were calling to elect him. So we definitely want him to come. It's not safe on the streets. It's a complete mess here. Speaking of this, about this administration, about the governor, about the mayor, we need help and we have crime. The crime rate is very high. We can't even go outside without realizing there is a chance we might not come back home and see our loved ones. We know that. So yes, we need help. We definitely support President Trump's visit. What
made this African-American woman, a former Black Lives Matter supporter, switch to Trump's side? The Democrats, she said, don't stop criminals. I go out of my house in the evening and I'm not sure I'll come back.
If I were a criminal, I would want the National Guard or the police to come and arrest me. No, but I am a law-abiding citizen. I am speaking on behalf of law-abiding citizens. I have no problems with the police because you know what? I don't break the law. When I go out, I don't commit any crimes, so I'm not worried about being chased by the police. If the police stop me, I ask, officer, what's going on? They reply, you did this or something similar. Your taillight is out? I didn't know that. Officer, oh, thank you now. If I broke the law, they'll give me a ticket. I'll take my ticket. If I want to contest it, I'll do that later, or I'll pay it because I broke the law. But the only people who have a problem with this are those who are committing crimes. Because those who get lost, those whose children die on the streets, where you can't even come to say goodbye at a funeral without risking, without losing your life, without feeling fear. They shoot at funerals, so you can lose your life even at a funeral.
This is her response to criticism of Trump coming from the mayor of Chicago, the governor of Illinois, and supposedly the residents of the city. What did I suddenly say? She who doesn't commit crimes but suffers from them would be against additional patrols on the streets. Only those people are against it who commit, well, I'll add for myself, or cover up crimes. Only they are against it.
Why aren't they? Why? He brought in the National Guard. He brought in the National Guard to protect his politicians, the Democratic Party that was coming to power. All those security measures for them? They had 3 rows of barriers that you couldn't even get through or reach them. You had to show your identification. Oh, those camps. We're talking about camps for the homeless. Oh, you didn't even see them. They made sure to get rid of them. You didn't see a single illegal immigrant on the street selling candy, just on the street. You didn't see anything like that. They got rid of all that. Why did they do it? Why did they do it when the Democratic National Convention was supposed to be held here? So that makes it clear. They know it looks bad. They know it's not good. But they want us to put up with it. The black community, the ones they supposedly stand for, they want us to put up with lawlessness and deaths in our community. But they understood perfectly well that when it comes to their people need to be protected. So if he can bring in the National Guard and gather most of the police around them to protect them, why can't we get the same? And for it not to be considered racism.
I remember every time when Democrats gather and everyone comes with armed. All the prominent Democrats come with armed guards. But we don't carry weapons, yet their security carries weapons. They put up barriers with wire, of course, so to speak, at the entrance to the places where they gather. If it's an announced event, then everyone entering is checked for identification and searched. And when it comes to voting, these same people demand that no one asks for a passport or any identification. This young woman is absolutely right. The elite doesn't care at all about who or what is happening. Vote, get your hand out, and go, get out of here.
And why do you think that Trump is the person who can do this and even cares about our community? Oh, Trump cares? Let me tell you something. Trump always, you see, the media made Trump look like he doesn't like black people, but Trump has always been there for black people and helped them. My mother volunteered at Operation Push in the 80s and things like that. That's right, Jesse Jackson. Trump helped Jesse Jackson and our communities. He gave to our communities. We knew Trump back in the 80s. Everyone loved Trump. My mother, everyone in the black community, he was the great white hope in our community, so he helped. Jesse Jackson and everyone else praised him. Now that he's running as a Republican, you want to tell us that he's a racist? What, Jennifer Hudson, why are you saying this when your family was killed here in Chicago? And Trump was the one who reached out to you, made sure you were okay, put you up in a hotel, made sure you were all right. All the rappers he helped, everyone he helped get those loans.
For a long time before he started his political career, he was called the white hope in black neighborhoods. They knew that he helped many people with their problems. Not only in New York, but in Chicago, too. They recalled the story when he put a family up in a hotel when they lost their home. But when he became a Republican, suddenly those who worshipped and adored him started saying the worst things about him, shouting that he was a racist.
Everything we asked him to do for the black community, he did. Let's discuss how Ice Cube met with him, while Biden and Harris didn't. Listen, I understand you, but the thing is, I remember Trump from the 80s. I've been around for a long time. But this whole story with DI, and you see how 30,000 black women are losing their jobs right now. And this whole story with museums and supporting this kind of hidden racism, that's what black people are thinking about. Look at some of the terms. It's not quiet. No, it's not quiet. You see, they have a problem with this because it's done by a white person. Let me say this. The first thing I would do if I got into office is fire. I would fire everyone. We have 250 black people in high positions in Chicago. I'm talking about the Department of Buildings, Dean's Inspections. I would fire every single one of them. I would do it as a black woman. So all of you, they would be crying about it. That's 250 black people that Benny just fired. Yeah, I did it. So imagine if a white person did it. It has to be done. What does it do? You see, with these diversity, equity, and inclusion things and all that, diversity, equity, and inclusion has never done us any good. You have to understand. I kept saying it. White liberal women benefited, and they brought in all these illegals. We're in Chicago, so we're a sanctuary city. Now you have to speak English. I mean, you can't even, because now you have to speak Spanish. You have to be bilingual to get these jobs. How dare you make us be bilingual? Because when you do that, who does it exclude? Who is it? Is it black people? See, now you have a point. Because there were a lot of articles saying that white women benefited more from DI than we did. They used DI and made black people the example to anger others and eliminate it. Yeah, we weren't the ones who benefited. People of color, let me tell you, we have Indians here, they come in crowds. See, people of color, see, everyone is being grouped with us. Do you ever think that Trump uses the myth that diversity, equity, and inclusion benefited black people as a weapon? Do you think you need to discuss your suspicions? No, that's not the point. Just like the Jewish people, you can't group anyone together with them, right? Because they need what they need. If we keep allowing it, look at what Trump did when he came, what he did with the 14th Amendment when he said that illegals, they tried to leave the children of illegal immigrants here, and he said no, it was for the descendants of enslaved children. The Democratic Party is trying to combine affirmative actions. They are trying to blame all our troubles on us, and we never did, and here we are. When they combined everyone else with our difficulties, we are being pushed aside here. And everyone else benefits from what we did, but we don't benefit from it. That's why I say separate us, because you don't do this with the Jewish people. They won't let you combine anyone else with their difficulties.
That's the speech. The girl, it turns out, is well-versed, well-read, I would even say, and knows how to argue her position. And she says these are their inventions with racial preferences, with the fact that one race is allowed to study, work, and get promoted simply because their ancestors suffered. But this leads to the fact that in our city there are 250 black people in all branches of government who were put there not for their merits at all, and all of them are incompetent. I would say if she came to power, the first thing I would do is fire those 250 black employees, all of ours. She would say that in the mayor's office and other departments, whoever she mentioned, she fired them all. This is the reverse Russian policy of the left. Only subtitles Dima Torzok by weakening those for whom it was actually kind of created, subtitles by Dima Torzok. And here is the same problem, or the problem from another angle. Comedian podcaster Adam Carolla, subtitles.
Think about how many white people are outraged by something someone said about the Latino community, or the Asian community, or the black community. It's not their community. They're not truly outraged. They just want an apology to gain power over you. And as soon as you apologize, they'll keep coming back again and again. Like a stray cat you put a saucer of milk out for on your back porch. If you let them know that you're not going to apologize, they'll leave you alone right away. No one asks me to apologize since I've made it clear I don't. And they won't ask Dave Chappelle to apologize. Once you make that clear, that's it. What do they want you to apologize for? Well, it could be anything you've said on any number of cultural, political, or any other issues. It's just, something new. It could be George Floyd. It could be January 6th. It could be something else. You said something about the transgender community. I'll give you a couple of specific examples. You said you think men are funnier than women. Well, that's a very good point. Now, let me explain that and explain how the media works. I gave an interview about one of my books about 13 years ago. And at the very end of the interview, they asked, who is funnier, men or women? And I answered, well, if I have to choose, because I don't like when people give answers where they say both. That's equality. It's like statistically, it would be almost impossible for men and women to be equally funny. That's why I said men are funnier, but Sarah Silverman, who I actually performed with last night, and Kathy Griffin are funnier than any guy who went to my school. So I would say men in general, it's connected to trying to attract women. Men are willing to do anything for sex. And a man's sense of humor attracts women, while a woman's sense of humor doesn't attract men in the same numbers we're talking about here. That's why I said men, but I know a lot of women who are funnier than any guy I grew up with. And then they just did it. They turned it into men are funnier than women. And then it changed to women aren't funny. That was the headline. Adam Carlos says women aren't funny.
I wanted to be clear, Adam is a very famous comedian, satirist, and humorist. In an interview, he was asked who is funnier, men or women. Adam thought that men do a lot of funny things to persuade a girl to have sex. Well, to get her into bed, so to speak. And he answered, men. The next day, the interview was published under the headline, Adam Carlo thinks women aren't funny. Like a racist, a chauvinist, a snitch, or, well, a sexist, as they call him. He thinks women can't make jokes. And they stirred up discontent and even hatred among the magazine's readers and their girlfriends.
You said if AOK were fat and over 60, no one would listen to her, period. That's true. That's 100% true. That's how it is. And that's what they judge you for.
Who are you to judge political issues? You don't know anything.
It's extremely predatory and gross.
He's projecting his sexism onto others. He thinks the only reason I'm interested is because she's attractive, period.
Talk show hosts say it in such a sexist way, but it's true. And because she speaks well. She doesn't just say, like most other politicians. Yes, she's talented, she has style, she's young and very attractive. And if she were over 60 stocky and from Minnesota, no one would listen to a single word she says. Because she sounds like an idiot. She says crazy things and she would be called a fat old nutcase.
Absolutely agree. She is, of course, a complete idiot. But people, neither in the United States nor in other countries, aren't exactly brilliant either. And millions listen to these stupidities and banalities that she says in front of the camera. But the Democrats pounced on Adam as if he hadn't pointed out the truth, but was the worst sexist in their eyes.
Actually, I don't have a choice in what I say. I have to tell the truth always, all the time. That's it. I'm a comedian. It's a sacred oath I've taken. That's what I do. I used to be a carpenter. I can go back, the day I stop saying what I think, I'll go back to the hammer. I doubt that'll happen, but what you said about not caring still got to me because I do care. Part of it is just a habit, because when I worked at National Broadcasting Company, American Broadcasting Company, and Fox, if I made the wrong group angry, I'd get fired. And now I have my own business, these videos, and I can't be fired. But I still flinch at the thought that I could be portrayed as a racist or a sexist in the mainstream media. And it seems like you don't have those worries. It just doesn't bother you. Well, there are a couple of things. First of all, I do care. To the extent that if you woke me up in the morning and asked, would you rather people on Twitter say bad things about you or not talk about you at all? I would always choose not to be talked about at all. After all, I'm a person, I would care.
I have to say, I have similar feelings. I read negative reviews with interest. Some of them lead to changes in what I do, hopefully for the better. And some I realize are just typical, just comments. A bot, as they say, yes. And sometimes it's a bot, and you can even tell if it's a paid bot or just an amateur bot. They do it just for fun. But sometimes I think I need to explain something. Well, not even to the person who wrote it, but to the readers who will read these comments later. That's why I reply. Sometimes it's for a good reason, other times just for fun if the comment is really silly.
I encountered this more than 20 years ago when I was on the 2020 program when all of this was just beginning, as I recall. And then I made a documentary called Boys and Girls Are Different, and some of the 2020 producers were outraged by this. And soon after that, I was assigned to do a story At Brown University, where a student was suspended for sexual misconduct, he had sex with a woman who was intoxicated. And of course, the message now is that you can't do that because she's actually not giving consent. But this woman, he claimed that she consented, and the next morning she gave him her phone number. And then a few weeks later, she accused him of rape. So I went to the campus, wanted to ask, what is the new definition of rape now, and discuss it. I'm just trying to figure it out myself and help others figure it out too. But the Department of Women's Studies, upon learning that I was coming, labeled me a woman hater because I made this documentary that said we're different.
And when I arrived, they were shouting, "Rape is not a media hype."
And
I couldn't even ask people a question because of the noise. Can I ask why you're shouting that?
Rape isn't just media hype. Let's all say it louder together.
In the end, someone pulled the cord out of my microphone. And this was a new culture where the other side wasn't allowed to speak. I believe they would have let the other side speak if they thought they could beat them in a debate.
There it is. The left on the streets of Chicago, in Congress, and universities would let us speak if they thought they could beat us in a debate. But they know they'll lose, and that's why they shout. Like the governor of Illinois, like the mayor of Chicago, like those half-witted or even quarter-witted college girls. You can't even call them half-witted because that would mean they have at least half a brain. They're quarter-witted. Now you understand why I say that the dumbest people in the United States and Europe are graduates of non-technical universities. They're taught not to think. That's what they're trained for. They're taught not to think, to become part of the herd, to obey the shepherd, and to shout what they're told, where they're told.
May I ask why you are shouting this?
rape is not a television show.
And in Congress, the Democrats are trying to tie Trump's name to everything that can be smeared with a K, to Epstein, to the fact that he's sending troops into cities to seize the country. Here is a congressional hearing with Ben Shapiro, a well-known host, podcaster, and ally and supporter of Trump.
Today, I will tell you about one of the most scandalous congressional hearings you have ever seen. A Democrat tried to corner Ben Shapiro over Project 2025, but instead, the exchange turned into a complete failure.
Mr. Shapiro, thank you for joining us today. I think it's important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And in the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of talk and searching about this. On Google, Project 2025 is one of the most popular search queries right now. And from my side, you won't face any censorship. So I would just like to know your point of view. I think it would help us understand if we use a scale from 0 to 100%, how much do you support
Project 2025. Like President Trump, I haven't studied Project 2025 in depth. It seems Democrats on this committee believe that, like Peter Pan and Tinker Bell, if they keep repeating Project 2025, their presidential candidate will magically return. So,
let's talk about some of its parts. You might say, if you support it, you want less bureaucracy, right? I want less bureaucracy. Do you want more efficiency? Yes, I want less, more efficiency. Do you want taxpayers' money to be spent wisely? Yes, I do. Congratulations, you've become a Republican. My parents would be proud of me. Mass deportations, that's what it's all about. Do you support that part?
I support the deportation of any illegal immigrant in the United States who does not benefit American society as a whole.
If they work in agriculture and provide food for ordinary Americans, have never committed a crime in the United States, but came without documents, they should be deported.
If they haven't paid taxes, and if their use of government benefits exceeds the contribution they make to the economy, or if they are involved in criminal activity, they should be deported. How do you measure that? The same way the Internal Revenue Service assesses my income every year. If the Internal Revenue Service can track every aspect of every check I've ever filed, and if they can do that for hundreds of millions of other Americans, they can do it for illegal immigrants too. But nobody knows how many are in the country because of this administration.
So you wouldn't mind creating a system where they could pay taxes if they wanted to, and then stay and work and provide us with food?
It depends on how long it takes them to pay taxes, and they'd have to go to the back of the line. I'm not sure why I'm testifying on immigration policy right now.
What about banning abortion pills? That's part of Project D25. Do you support it?
I believe that's an issue that should be decided at the state level. I'm just asking you. Of course, I am fully pro-life, which means I do not support the distribution of abortion pills. The ban on same-sex marriage. What about this point? I support traditional marriage between a man and a woman, but I have no issue with others choosing any voluntary sexual relationships. But that's different from the question of whether the state should provide benefits to such a personal union. Do you think same-sex marriage is a sin? I'm confused. Are you asking me, as a religious Jew, what I think about the Bible? I'm just asking, is it a sin to be gay? Is it a sin to be gay? I mean, how much time do we have left here? 2 minutes. I mean, if the main idea is that sexual orientation should be regulated by the state, I don't support the idea of the government regulating private, consensual sexual activity between adults. Again, that's different from the question of whether the government should provide any benefits for certain sexual relationships between adults.
But again,
is it a sin or not, just between us? From a religious Jewish view, orientation isn't sinful, but the act is. This is also the mainstream perspective, as far as I know.
and what about the possible reduction of social benefits and allowances provided to citizens? Do you support this point in 2025?
I'm unsure of the 2025 project's stance on Social Security. I support restructuring the Social Security system towards privatization, as well as raising the retirement age. Because you, like any other Congress member, know the Social Security system will go bankrupt. Still, everyone seems interested in lying about it. Over the next decade and a half, until we have to implement austerity measures or radically increase inflation or taxes.
Of course, Ben Extra is an extraordinary person. I was lucky to meet him. He's much younger, but the first time I saw him, he was about 5 years younger, and he was already brilliant even then. He is knowledgeable, he has a standpoint from which he judges what happens in life, and he is not afraid to express that position. Why are black people, even members of Black Lives Matter for those who don't know, switching to Trump's camp? First of all, they believe that the Democrats have been deceiving them for many years, promising them a supposedly better and safer life. And Trump showed us that for as long as 7 months? 5 months. In the White House, he did more for the country and for black people than the Democrats did in, I don't know, maybe 30 years. Trump focuses on creating new jobs and supporting small businesses. What matters to black people, white people, and Latinos is that Trump is fighting, effectively by the way, against illegal immigration. Trump claims that illegal immigrants are taking jobs from the less educated, the poorly educated part of the population. Young people understand this. They don't have an education yet. They don't have skills. They need to find jobs somewhere. But all of that is already taken by illegal immigrants. And by the way, people with dark skin are to a certain extent, let's say, not well educated. And that's why they take simple jobs. And it's going to impact them hard. Young African Americans who don't know what happened before the civil rights movement and so on don't feel loyalty to the party. I mean, the Democratic Party, though it was actually the Republicans who fought for their rights while Democrats opposed them, yet they believed it was the Democrats. They don't feel loyalty. They don't feel it. They look at where the proposals and actions lead to an improvement in their lives. And that's the right approach. Who acts like that? Who makes promises like, you can promise anything, you can just make empty promises, or you can explain and tell what you are actually going to do. And when a person explains things clearly, it's obvious that common sense will prevail. And when he starts doing things, he does what he said he would do. And it happens. This is where the transition to Trump takes place. So the shift of some African American voters toward Trump is based on a combination of disappointment in old institutions, disappointment in migration policy, the Democratic Party, and a reassessment of party loyalty. That is, the Democratic Party thought that black people were in their pocket, so they didn't need to pay any attention to them at all, thinking they would all vote for them. So the Democrats claim that anyone who leaves them, whether they're black or someone else, is a traitor, a mercenary, and doesn't even deserve to be called black. Biden said this just openly. Obama, Hillary, Kamala, and others said it more subtly, but it was still the same message. All of them, by the way, are not black. Well, Obama may be half, yes, black youth, black small business owners, black union members. They've already started turning to Trump and gave him an unprecedented 20% of the black vote in America. Absolutely unprecedented. I think this time it will be more. This time it will be 25, maybe even 30% of the black vote. And now, after the men, the women have started following them too. This is a collapse. Here we talk about a tent, right? A tent under which the party gathers its supporters. Well, this is the Democrats' tent. Excuse me, it faltered. It's the collapse of the forces that brought the Democrats to power. That's all for now. We'll meet again pretty soon, so I think I'll release another video in a few hours. So please stay tuned. Goodbye. To be continued.